What's up guys, Tea Party Percy here and welcome back to a new Guardian guide. In this guide we're going to take a closer look at Igrexion, the tier 7 4th Guardian. You can try to slay this Guardian in normal, epic or mystic mode. On epic and mystic mode, your stats are equalized, which means item level, guild buffs, bracelet engravings won't matter. In addition to that, Igrexion attacks are slightly faster, and because of the equalized stats, he also hits harder. As always, let's start with the combat items. Mandatory combat item for Igrexion, excluding the heal pots, is the Panacea. You can use it up to 2 times per Guardian raid and it removes debuffs. For beginners, this combat item is necessary for the 3rd and last stage of the Guardian fight. As for the remaining slots, you can take Shield Talisman, Dark Bombs, Flare and other combat items which you usually use in Guardian raids. Before I start to explain specific skills, pattern and how to avoid those, I want to give you some general information about Igrexion. First of all, Igrexion's fight is all about survival. The Guardian doesn't have much HP, and as long as you deal decent damage, you shouldn't wipe because of time running out. The issue is that he has a lot of hard-hitting skills which might one-shot squishy classes. In general, you should avoid to stay in front of Igrexion if you are not a warlord. If he turns his face towards you, don't run away from him, instead try to run around him. A lot of his frontal attacks are frontal AoEs, which means running away won't help. Similar to Kelvin Tooth, staying diagonally behind him is the safest spot. Now listen carefully because this is crucial. Like in many other Guardian fights, you have to have vision on Igrexion during the entire fight. Best case, you have his entire body visible on your screen. Especially in last phase, you can predict and avoid one-hit skills based on his body movement. As I just hinted, I won't go through every skill of Igrexion in this video. I will only show and explain crucial skills which might lead to a wipe. The last but one of the most important infos you need to know is that Igrexion has 3 phases, and each of the phases will have a slightly different skill sets, and if you get hit depending on which phase he is, you will get a specific debuff. On your first encounter, Igrexion will be on his shadow form, and some of his skills will apply blind debuff on hit. Shortly after Igrexion changes into the second form, which is the earth form, he will start to charge his magnetic field. While doing so, he will take reduced damage. You can interrupt the charge by dealing enough impairment damage, which will give you more time to deal damage without him casting the magnetic field. But the magnetic field is unavoidable because he will attempt to charge it up again after a while, and every additional attempt will require more and more impairment to interrupt him. Once he succeeds, Igrexion will be surrounded by a huge circle. Just by standing in the circle, you will get a slow debuff every few seconds, which will stack up to 60 times. You shouldn't use the Panacea to remove this debuff because that item is more useful during the last phase. To get rid of the debuff stacks, you can simply walk out of the circle and stay outside for 3 seconds. But be careful, losing vision on Igrexion is quite risky. Force movement skills like the flamethrower of Blaster or the birds from Summoner can be used to ignore the slow debuff if you need to avoid specific skills or just simply to get out of the circle faster. The last and his final stage will be the fire form. Similar to the second stage, he can also cast a magnetic field. But the debuff it applies is way worse than the slow. The debuff will increase the damage you take from all the Igrexion skills, and this one can stack up to 100 times. If you should reach 100, even a simple slap of him can one-shot you. In addition to that, certain skills of Igrexion will apply a burn debuff on you if you get hit. This debuff can stack up to 5 times and will last for 19 minutes. That is why it is recommended to use the Panacea during the last phase to remove the damage increase debuff, if you are about to get hit by one of his skills and have 40 or more stacks of it. Don't forget you can also get rid of it by just simply running out of the AoE magnetic field. Just to make clear, the burn debuff won't get removed if you step outside of the magnetic field. But once you use a panacea to get rid of the damage increase debuff as a positive side effect, you will also get rid of the burn debuff. Now that you know the basics, let's start with the crucial skills which you need to know and how to avoid those. And of course, we will go through the dangerous skills during the shadow form first. There are not many because he usually doesn't stay long in his first form. As mentioned earlier, most of his skills can be avoided by not staying in front of him, like the charge or breath attack. At the beginning of the Guardian raid, you should try to enter the Guardian area together, because there is a high chance that he will do the charge breath attack as an opener. Next skill is the Tail Smash, which is a 3-hit combo. The DPS class, which are most of the time behind the boss, will get hit once or twice by the skill. The first 2 hits won't deal that much damage, but the third one will. And in addition to that, the AoE of the last hit is bigger and will knock you up. Even if you get hit by the first 2 hits, you will still have time between the second and third hit to dodge out before the actual third hit lands. Last crucial skill during the first stage is the 360 degrees counter attack. The boss will curve his tail, freeze in position and send out dark waves. If you see that, everyone should stop attacking the boss for around about 5 seconds. But if someone attacks him during the counter attack mode, he will do a 360 spin attack which will do medium damage and apply a blind debuff stack. After a while fighting the boss on first stage, he will use his transition skill to change into phase 2. During this time he will take reduced damage, and as soon as you can see him doing this skill, you should run outside of the golden shimmering area, because once he finishes the transformation or transition, he will deal tons of damage in the golden area. Now, welcome to stage 2. Once again, don't stay too far away from boss and don't stay in front of the boss. By doing so, you just avoided getting hit by around 50% of his skills. But as always, there are skills which might hurt you a lot if you don't pay attention. Starting with his ground breath attack. He will suck in air around him and breathe into the ground. As soon as he does that, tons of small circles will spawn around him and deal damage. If you have a Warlord or a Bard, you should get shielded and can ignore this most of the time and keep DPSing the boss. But if you don't, you should run away as soon as he points his head towards the ground. Because the closer you are to the boss, the harder it will be to dodge all those circles. Next is the down mechanic during phase 2. You can easily down the boss multiple times during phase 2 and phase 3. You can deal tons of damage while he's downed, but that won't last long. Once he recovers, he will slam on the ground and will deal damage to everyone who is either too close or too far away from him. So you have to run to the small safe area once he recovers to avoid taking damage. An easy way to see where you are safe is to pay attention to the blue shimmering effect around the boss once you down him. At the edge of the shimmering area, you are usually safe. After you fought this boss a few times, I'm pretty sure you will know where to stand without looking at the blue ground effect. The last 2 skills I want to take a closer look at are the 2 skills which can one-shot people during phase 2. First one is the forward jump, followed by an explosion. Whenever Igrexion jumps forwards, you have to follow him immediately and stay really close to him. Because 1 second after he lands on the ground, he will deal tons of damage to everyone far away from him. Of course, you can try to dodge out in the opposite direction, but once again, the AoE is huge. Chance to survive is higher if you just jump, dash or move close to the boss after his initial jump. Just because of this skill, I would recommend you to keep at least one of your movement skills ready to use at any given time. And if you're a class like Blaster with only one spacebar as a movement skill, you better use it wisely. The last devastating skill during phase 2 is the frontal 3-headed spear attack. If you are lucky, he will only do it once, but in worst case, he will do that skill 3 times in a row on the same player. This skill is easier to dodge if you are further away from the boss, but in case you are close to the boss, you have to circle around the boss to avoid it. But most of the time, by circling around the boss, you risk that your teammates will also get hit by the skill. So if you see someone circling around the boss because of that skill, you should also run around the boss in the same direction. Once Igrexion reaches the 25% HP mark, he will change into phase 3 without any flashy effects or huge AoE skills like it was the case when he changed from phase 1 to phase 2. In phase 3, Igrexion won't cause a big AoE after his frontal jump anymore. That is the good part. And now, the bad things. The ground breath attack will be slightly enhanced. Some of the AoEs appearing around the boss once he breathes into the ground will leave a small magma field. A few seconds after he stops breathing into the ground, those small fields will explode. Try to not stay close to those. Remember the down and recover mechanic from phase 2 where you had to stay at the right area to not get hit by the AoE once he recovers? This AoE will be changed into a 2-hit combo. So the first hit is the same one like in phase 2. But once the first hit lands, you have to dodge or move towards the boss, because the second hit will hit the safe spot of the first hit. Next, we have the Rising Mountain skill. Just in case if you wonder who came up with those skill names, it was me. Back to the skills, Igrexion will raise his right hand and slam it on the ground in front of him, which will deal decent AoE damage. But after 1 second delay, pillars will rise from the initial impact area and spread outwards. Those pillars can hit you multiple times, so as soon as he raises the right hand, you either prepare to run away or dodge towards the initial slam impact area. Which direction you choose depends on your position. If you are closer to his head, it is better to dodge towards the initial impact area, and if not, dodge away from the boss. Last but not least, we have the grill. Easily predictable because the boss will do a specific Naruto-like hand movement before he casts the skill. This skill's hitbox is bigger than it seems, and to avoid the skill, you can simply dodge to the left or right side of the boss. There is also a small safe spot between each of the grill lines, but if you just miss the spot by 1 step, you will take tons of damage, or you might even get one-shotted depending on how many debuff stacks you have. That's it, simple as always. Those are the skills you need to pay attention to, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments or during my stream or in the Discord link down below. One more thing, if you farm this boss for the Igrexion accessory set, which is mandatory for Mystic Raid Phase 3, you have to farm this boss a lot, and that even without the soul. The accessory drop rate is incredibly low, and I was lucky and got the full set within 5 days. But I did every day 6 soul runs and over 20 soulless runs. So good luck guys, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video or stream. Bye bye, your Tea Party Percy.